And we're live.
Wrong way. We're live?
We're live.
We are live.
Perfect.
Da, 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 da. We're getting this down. Hey, everybody. This is Live Portfolio Reviews, episode 25. And I'm your host, RT Bear. I will be breaking souls and destroying your will to draw. No, I will not. I will try to inspire. I will try to uplift. And I will try to give you the best answers and the best critiques I can based on my 30 years as a comic professional. We have Taylor back for portfolio reviews. Say hi, Taylor.
Hi, everyone. I'm very sick, battling a cold, but I'll still be reading your chats. So go ahead and ask questions of art and gain some knowledge from a 30-year vet.
Yeah, ask away. And for the record, you got me sick too, so I'm sick as well. I'm a dog sick. I'm sick as a dog. Okay. So, yeah, so the reason she was gone is there's this crazy, wacky thing called Wasteland Weekend, and it's up in the Mojave Desert. So you want to give them a little fill-in on what that is?
Yeah, it's the quickest way to describe it is it's a post-apocalyptic Mad Max camping festival, and it's a lot of fun. We did a video and I got back kind of explaining what it is if you're interested in that. But we also did a video recently that you should totally check out called The Kiss Corner, and it's probably one of my favorite things we've done on this channel. You may think that Art is very entertaining for this comic book stuff, but he's also kind of a music aficionado, and I highly recommend watching that video.
It was a lot of fun. I hope you guys like it because Scott and I and Taylor, we all had a blast. So I hope you like it. We did it yesterday, so it should still be one of the newer videos up.
And we want to do it again. So if you're a Kiss fan, and by the way, Kiss has a very long history with comics, so we'll probably tackle that in another video. But if you're a Kiss fan, you should totally check it out. Even if you're not, I think it's still entertaining.
And you know what? Last night, we posted it yesterday, right?
Yeah.
That was yesterday. Wow, I'm losing track of time. This Indiegogo thing is just, everything's just bleeding into one. Yeah, I had a bunch of people last night, comic artists and stuff, contacting me saying, "Oh, this is a great idea. Can I come on your show? Can I come on your show?" So I'm not going to name any names right now because we don't have them in concrete yet or in blood, in real Kiss blood. Yeah, we don't have that yet. That was a reference to they did a Marvel comic and they printed it with real Kiss blood. So if you're a Kiss fan, you'll know what I'm talking about. Oh, excuse me. So yeah, I'll be naming those as we go along. But it looks like that show is coming together. And then the one I think is cool is, also that I think is cool is our verses.
Yeah, we did one of those yesterday too. And actually, it was funny. So everybody who uploads on YouTube probably knows this, but we actually got a copyright claim for daring to show Battle Angel Alita's face. The video's still up and everything's fine, but we had to fight it, which I guess everybody who like reviews movies and stuff has to deal with. But Versus is a pretty cool little concept where we talk about different movies coming out. It won't just be movies, but we talk about different things and basically do a matchup, and you guys vote on which you think is better.
Well, they're not quite matchups. They're like verses. So this is like a boxing or like a wrestling match. So it's like who's gonna win, you know? So we basically take. So far, it's been similar things, right? Like a sci-fi movie and a sci-fi movie trailer, or a comic book trailer and another comic book trailer.
Similar things of the same kind of demographic, and basically are competing for your views. So we basically vote on which we think deserves it more.
Right. We do a round robin with John Davies, and then we tell you what we think, and then you guys get to vote in and tell us what you think, and then whoever wins is who will win that, or who won that match for that versus episode. So it's a lot of fun. I really want to do something, and I don't know if this is a cool idea. Let me know if it is. But something like I don't know, Legos versus action figures, or
that's a good one.
Like something like that. Like, where do you guys chime in on not so much collectability, but when you were kids, like what was cooler, you know, action figures or Legos?
What do you like better?
Yeah, so we can do stuff like that too, silly stuff like that. But it has unlimited potential, I think, and it will be a lot of fun. So let's get into this. Oh yeah, and I just wanted to thank my wife Pamela for filling in when Taylor was away.
Good job, Pamela.
Yeah, yeah. So we got some talent here to bring you these shows. And if you guys have questions along the line, feel free, comments, anything. So here is our first, and Scott McNiven.
Thanks for including your name.
Yeah, I was just gonna say this is cool because we actually have your name. So this looks very well. Before I speak, I was gonna say very digital, but some of these lines are a little broken, like they may be hand drawn, maybe with a marker. But this is a great scan. This is a great scan. So we can actually get into this piece.
I think it has to be digital. It looks way too clean.
And once again, there's nothing wrong with digital. I don't have a problem with it. Except I think it's soulless. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. There's a lot of guys that do some really great work with it and are able to make it move and have rhythm and harmony. So I've seen just as many bad results digitally as I have hand inked. So it all depends on the individual and what they're able to bring to it. But this is quite nice. This is good, Scott. So this looks like a splash page from an issue. What do you think, Taylor?
Yeah, Scott sent in several pages.
Oh yeah, there's another one.
Yeah, and I think this is just like the start. Yeah, the start of this scene.
Okay, so this is page 2 and that's page 3. Okay, so this looks like page 2.
Devilish Boredom says, nothing beats the feel of traditional work. Do you agree?
Personally, yes. But I have seen really cool digital stuff, but I also like I like looking at originals. Like one of the things that Taylor and I, when we go to San Diego Comic-Con or some of the bigger shows that have like old artwork on display, I forget that booth that's right over. It's right next to Artist Alley,
Yeah.
and it has all kinds
They
of
have the gold and silver age arts on the big
yeah.
boards.
They're big boards, and they have plastic around them, so you can actually pick them up and you can look at them, and I like that. I like that a lot. This is why I was thinking it might be traditional, Taylor, because there's some
Oh,
broken
yeah.
line. That looks like sometimes when you scan marker in,
Scratchy, yeah.
yeah, it'll break up. So that's the only reason I was thinking this was traditional. But this is quite good. So it looks like a bear, like a wrestling bear. They used to have at carnivals and fairs, right? You could wrestle bears.
I think it's like a Russian thing, right? Or the dancing bears.
I don't know. I think they had it here too. Like you could wrestle bears.
Oh my god.
Could you imagine? I don't know about you guys because most people are, oh, like sharks and stuff like. You know what scares the poop out of me are bears. Because bears, man, if you've ever seen their paws, if they just hit you upside the head, they'll crush your skull. And then they have those claws too. Ugh.
Bears are scary.
And I heard like the bears are kind of psychotic too.
I don't think they're incredibly smart animals.
Yeah, I don't think, like, you grow up and you're like, oh, it's a teddy bear and you hug them and stuff. I don't think you should hug a bear.
They brainwash you into thinking they're cute.
Yeah, they're cute and cuddly. I just want to hug a
The
bear.
chat says bears are land sharks.
Yes, yes. And you know what? They scare me more because at least a shark, I have to go into their terrain to get bit. Like a bear, like we live not in the woods, but we live in kind of the mountain area. And not that we have a lot of bears, but
It's California's animal.
yeah, but there are bears around here and they're a little psycho. Actually, I just butchered that. What I noticed, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little digital ink if I can get my hand here to function properly. I got to break in, got to loosen up a little bit. But I think since this is a really sparse kind of drawing, meaning there's not a lot of detail, What I like to do is I like to do thicker lines,
Mm.
especially if it's kind of cartoony. I like to do thicker lines on things. It just seems to work better to me. And one thing I say, and I say a lot, big muscle mass on a figure can handle some heavy line weight. So this deltoid, no, this is not a deltoid. The shoulder muscle um, here can handle more weight and thickness. I hope you guys can see what I'm
I think they got a pretty
doing
good
here.
view. Somebody in the chat says, DJ said, "Are you going to leave the store open to try to get to 100K? This month is rough on gamers. All the games released this month. Are we competing with games?"
Oh, you mean gamers like for the dollar?
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Oh, actually, yeah. I mean, the goal is to try to do as well as we possibly can, because the better we do, then the more Taylor and I can stay focused on the independent stuff. If not, we'll have to go back to DC and Marvel.
We gotta make a living, guys. It's the sad reality.
Yeah. So it might seem like, oh, they're being greedy, or they want to overfund or whatever, but realistically speaking, overfunding is the only way that you can make these things happen. So kind of the way to think about these Indiegogos is it's not really overfunding.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually just kind of getting it to a place that
There is any profit at all.
yeah, that you can pay the artists and that everybody can make a good living. And then if we can do well enough, we can be independent of the other things, and then we can stay in that arena longer, the creator owned arena, which is where both of our hearts are at. So I would like to not go back. Not that I have anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with DC and Marvel. I'm very grateful that I've been able to play in their sandbox as long as I have. But this is where my heart's at right now. So you can kind of see, how it's building up base, and then you can kind of compare it to here.
That makes a big difference.
So yeah, so I think the drawing is pretty strong. It's not bad. I mean, it's obviously this bear is way overblown as far as muscles and things. So it's not a pretty physique, but it's drawn very well. So Scott, you did a good job. So here is what I call like the big muscle mass. So the back side, this can handle a lot of thickness. Like I said, the bigger muscle mass. So you can see how it's not as thick here, it's thinner here, it's thinner here, and thicker here. And this is the main thickness, and then this is secondary to that. And then there's thickness here, but then this is really, really thick. So I say find the muscle mass, the big muscle mass, and that's the part that will handle the best or the heaviest line weights.
It's funny. The more of the black lines and the thick to thin you add, the more this actually looks like a comic book to me.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, because this is kind of a maybe a more traditional way of doing comics with the thin thicks. But the reason I believe the thins and thicks work so well is because there's movement to them. So if it was just a uniform line, which is the line you have now, there's not as much movement. So you can kind of compare, you can see what's happening here versus what's happening here and the legs. So it's just one of those things that becomes more dynamic. And this is just kind of a pet peeve. I don't like shadows that follow too much of the contour of the jawline. It just looks like the jawline is inked kind of too thick or sloppily. So
I didn't realize that was a shadow until you pointed it out. Actually.
yeah, because it's more on one side than the other. Yeah. I don't know if you just kind of, this might be too much because I don't want to change the rhythm that you have there. But if you do something like that, then what you have is a deliberate shadow versus something that just looks like a structure line, like the jaws being structured in a sloppy manner. Something like that. That's not great, but you get the idea. And then since you have the light source coming in, it's light over here because you can see it's lit here and then shadowed on this side and then shadowed over here. What I would do is, just so there's contrast, I would bring maybe some more blacks in that ear, just so there's a little dynamics between the two sides.
It makes a big difference.
Thanks. And so what I would do, sometimes too much hatching doesn't work. So just keep it maybe more subtle. And there's one aspect to hatching too, and I notice this a lot in amateur work, is hatching should kind of be on one side or the other. And so the way I dictate where my hatching is going to go, and there's always exceptions, so you're always going to find exceptions, but if the light source is over here and it's coming across this way, then you have your light, you have your gray transition, and then you have your black. So this is really good. But then, excuse me, you have this hatching here, and I kind of obliterated some of it when I put this black in here, but there was a lot of hatching in here. And so what you realistically should, or what you should do, is find one side and then keep that as the hatching. So it looks better already clean. And so if I was going to do hatching, I would put the hatching over here, because once again, it's the light coming across. So you have light, then you have gray, and then you have this black that's in here. So instead of putting your hatching on the other side of the shoulder, I would put it on this side of the shoulder. And then it will have rhythm and harmony with your hatching here. And it will actually look like it transitions into a black more than just kind of a weird stylized hatch.
Because that's the whole purpose of hatching anyway, right?
Yeah, it's a gray tone. So think of it as a gray tone. This is really a fun drawing, though.
What would you name this character?
Bear Claw. I don't know. Wrestle Bear.
Like Bear Claw.
Bearmania. What would you name it?
The Iron Bear.
The Iron Bear.
Iron Grizz.
Blood Bear. T-Bear.
The T-Bear.
The T-Bear. I like the stylization of this, but it doesn't seem to serve the purpose. It doesn't define anything. So let me bring those back so you guys can see. Okay, so there's that, and then there's that. So what's the round robin? What does everybody think? The stylized hatching or no hatching?
I think everybody's just chiming in that they want the bear to be named Artie Bear.
Artie Bear!
I think it looks better without it.
Yeah, I do too. And if you wanted to bring some kind of definition, possibly this part of the pec could be picking up some light from that left-right situation I told you about. So, I don't know, something like that. Let's see what this looks like. It's a little low. Actually, his pec is pretty low. But you get the idea. something like that if you wanted to. But to be honest, I think it looked better
Just
with
black.
yeah, without it. Yeah.
How are you reading that background? Because it's a little confusing to me. Is that a door?
Yeah, it looks like some kind of plank, like some kind of like he's walking on some kind of runway. He's a runway model.
This is an intriguing story.
Yeah, the background we'll get into because the background is really controlled and nicely drawn, but you're right, it's not really serving the story. It's not enhancing everything. So I could go in and blacken, adding more line weights and stuff, but I think you guys get the general idea. The legs have the same problem. Here's that left-right rule. The hatching should probably be on the other side of the muscle, not on this side. So I reverse it. These hatches, the thing is, I think they're a little too high to the light source. So if I was going to put hatches or hatching, I would put them down in here. I wouldn't put them up high. And having said that, this one actually works because the light's coming in this way. So it actually defines the shape. But this one, I would bring the hatching this way, and then I would bring some slight hatching in on the leg here to imply, once again, the dark to light. Yeah, once again, just line weights in the legs. And I don't know. For some reason, something's happening here. So maybe the knee is too wide. Maybe the knee. Let's see if I can do this quickly. So maybe if the knee was in. Look at that. Look at that beautiful line.
Cut and print.
I don't know. Something like that, I guess. Because this one looks thinner to me. This one looks a little thick. So probably somewhere in between what I was doing and what Scott had. Because the thing is, even when you get really blown, like big muscles and stuff, like what you have here, the joints realistically always stay the same. That's why I always think like wrestlers and bodybuilders look funny because they have like skinny little wrists and elbows and knees.
I never thought about that. That's
Yeah,
funny.
and they can increase their mass of their hands. So I always think their hands look really small. I always think it's just I think bodybuilding, just personally, I think it's a little strange.
Well, you lived through the '90s bodybuilding craze, so
Yeah.
that's funny. I'm never gonna look at that the same way.
Because they can't build the wrists and knees and the elbows out.
Boredom says then they get the Popeye arms.
Yeah, it's weird because you have like you have real narrow and then you have wide and then you have narrow again, and you can't build mass on the hand. So no matter how big the forearms and stuff get, the hands always look really tiny. And the thing is, when you draw superheroes, you draw them big. One of the things, I don't know if you guys know, but usually superheroes' heads are slightly smaller than normal like people's heads, and their hands are slightly bigger because we don't have to worry about real life. So you can make more of an aesthetically pleasing human being than real life can, except if it's Chris Evans or Chris Hemsworth, which are
that's kind of just
I don't know.
Yeah, it defies nature. That being said, do you think this bear is in proportion, like, for what he is?
Oh yeah. 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Yeah. There's one thing rhythmically, and then I'll get into the background. Let me see if I can find my red. Give me a red. Let's find the center here. That's not red. Oh, I must be in.
Oh, you know what?
What is
Switch
that
the
mode?
mode. It's stuck in luminosity. No, this one over here.
Which one?
This happens sometimes. This one right here. See where it says
Type?
luminosity?
Oh, okay. So just normal?
Yeah. Do you guys ever have this problem in Photoshop where like the mode just randomly changes? Because it seems like it happens a lot to us.
Yeah, I don't like this Photoshop. Okay, so usually, okay, he's standing straight up and down. He's not moving forward with his body or anything like that. So the one thing is the torso will pull from the body because he's slightly 3/4, but it's still straight up and like he's standing straight up and down. But rhythmically, you don't line up the crotch to the middle of the chest because it's out just a little bit too much. So realistically speaking, I think this might be part of the problem I had with the legs too. Is I think his crotch should be, let me see, somewhere more in here.
Yeah, I think that already kind of reads better.
Yeah, it's over. I think it's over this way too far. So, yeah, the lower half should be over a little bit more. So, like one of the things they teach at school is like, is it the seventh vertebrae, Taylor? Is that is that this vertebrae
it's
right
like
on the
very
neck?
end of your neck, or like
The
where
one
your
that
neck starts, right?
Yeah, the one that pops out. And so, like, if you drew your center line from there, like, if you draw from the spine out, so that's like if you think through the figure, so this is like the spine, and then everything builds out from there. But that's kind of like the center of your body. But then there's another center, which is like, well, that's not it. Boop, 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 doo, boop, boop, doo. Like right there. So it's like at the chest. So if you were going to draw like a Superman S or something like that, that's where you would draw it. You would center it on the chest. But then you have to think that the chest also tapers in and then down. And that's where you find like the crotch. So if you drew your center, it would come in and then it would come down. And that's, I think, where you were getting into some of the trouble there, finding the crotch. But it's a great face. I like the character design, actually. I'm a sucker. I don't know, Taylor, I like these like
The half mask.
yeah, with the strap things on
Yeah.
them, like the Iron Fist mask.
I think the Iron Fist mask is really cool, actually.
Yeah, I dig that mask. But this is really cool, Scott. So Taylor, what do you want to say about the backgrounds?
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask how you read that, because right now it looks like a hallway, but I don't think there's any line weights, so it's kind of hard to read.
Yeah, it looks like a hallway, so it's like a one point perspective. So the vanishing point is probably, I don't know, somewhere here.
By the way, Muttman in the chat said crotches are hard, no pun intended, and I
I think there was a pun intended there.
well, I think like you pointed out, with a lot of people starting out, they do tend to put it in the wrong, a little too low or too high.
It's tough. I mean, there's a lot to drawing. Okay. Yeah, I'm a little too low now on the vanishing point, but it's somewhere in this general area. Actually, let's see. There's a simpler way to do this. I'll show you guys if I can do it. Let's see if I can line this up. So if you draw your lines and then you find out where they intersect, that's kind of where your vanishing point is. So maybe I was closer to the vanishing point initially, which is up here. So the one thing I think there's kind of a fatal flaw here, because it looks like you have a floor line drawn in here, meaning that this opening is going back. But what you don't have, if this is your vanish or your eye level right across here, what you don't have is you don't have this line. You don't have a line here. So if you drew a line here and then you have your line here, this implies there's a wall right here. But without that line right there, it just looks like a design. It looks like a flat shape. So the only thing that gives you dimension is this part, but right around here, it looks like it's flat, just like this wall here.
That's why I think I didn't realize what it was. That
Yeah.
line makes a big difference.
There's no dimension to it. So if you did the same here, so then this becomes a wall and this becomes a wall. And it depends on how far back you want to go. So let's see. This probably won't work because I didn't do it in layers. You know what? I should start doing these in layers so I can make things easier on myself. So let's just say the wall ends right here, and then this is either an opening back here, the square shape, or it's either open or there's a wall there. So then what you have, now let me just do the whole thing. Okay, like that. And then this becomes the wall here, becomes the wall that would mount or match up to this wall. So then you have, so everything in red becomes, and then this one, if we drew through the bear, be like this. So this would be your floor, this would be your floor, this would be your wall, this would be your wall, this would be your ceiling, and then this shape back here would be the back wall, or just a complete opening, like it's a hallway. So what I would do is, you can do this with line weights to more point out like the planes and stuff, or you could do that with shadows. So I don't want to spend too much more time because put some other people here, but let's see if this, yeah, that worked.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay, so so the light is coming in this way too. So we wouldn't shadow this wall, we would shadow this wall. So if you brought in,
Nice.
so if you brought in this shape, then what you have is you have a shape that frames the bear in.
Way more depth now.
You could do that too, but I don't think I would.
Any Dynamo says, Art should definitely be a professor. Good at explaining the stuff.
Oh, thank you. And I don't know, I always I like foreground blacks. Okay, that's,
Whoa. That was
yeah,
cool.
it's a show. It's not enclosed, so I can't do that. But let's just draw a line here real quick and see if we can.
You're right, Pixel. I don't want to talk trash. He said you were a good professor, unlike, and then insert name. And I was like, I'm not going to read that.
Was that Pixel Trader?
Yeah, hey, Pixel.
Oh, you know what, Pixel? I want to ask you a question. How do we get a hold of Pixel?
We have him on Facebook.
All right, yeah. If you don't mind, I want to ask you a question about our Indiegogo. You might be the guy to go to for that. Yeah, I don't know, because if you add shadows here, then it looks like that this is recessing, and it helps pull out the detail of this walkway here.
No, I dropped my cough drop.
Oh,
Sorry.
I
You
don't want
guys heard that clicking on
It's
the ground.
it's so close to my foot. I'm gonna have like it stuck to my foot. That's funny. I don't know. It looks like it could use a little bit more jiving up.
5-second rule, says Pixel.
No. This floor I mean, my wife's a good housekeeper, but I don't know. Even when I was a kid, well, you know what? It depends on what it was.
What's the 5-second rule?
Yeah, it depends on what it was that dropped. Because if it was like, there's one thing, like, I'll tell you, there's something about me, and man, we were so poor as kids. My dad worked his butt off, but it was a big family, so there was 4 kids, and of course my mom and dad, and there was like, it was Hostess. I think Hostess came on the scene at the time. I remember kids would come to school and they had their Hostess Twinkies or something like that, and I was like, oh my gosh, Hostess, I would kill for it. And now as an adult, I could buy it. I could buy stock in it, and I think it's absolutely garbage. But
Whoa.
I don't like Hostess anything, to be honest. I don't know what that icing is. I think the cupcakes are probably the closest, or the Suzy Q's, because they don't have that weird icing on
What's
it.
a Suzy Q?
It's just like a chocolate cake with like cream filling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have that icing on it.
The
So
plastic icing.
yeah, the plastic icing, wax icing. But anyways, long story short, I got myself a hold of, it was like a Twinkie or something like that, and I dropped it on the school, playground.
Aw.
And that sponge cake is it is like a sponge. It will attract
Like lint.
dirt and rock and stuff.
No.
Yeah. I hadn't even bitten into the damn thing yet, and I dropped it. And man, I scraped
Aw.
everything off of it, and there was plenty of junk on it. And I ate that thing, and I was so damn happy. I was beside myself. I was like, yeah, this is so good, even with the rocks and dirt and whatever else, twigs in it.
It might have even been better.
It probably had more nutritional value. Okay, Scott. I mean, like I said, without going into any more detail, but I think this still this jives it up with keeping in your style that you came up with. And also, when I hit these blacks, like you have these little trim pieces, you could keep those in because it would probably help push it back as well. So you can keep some of that detail in there. I just hit it with the paint bucket tool, so it just obliterated everything. But this is really good. I like the T-Bear or whatever.
T-Bear.
Artie Bear. Oh, they are wrestlers. Look at this. Wait a minute. You don't punch in wrestling? Do you punch in wrestling?
They're like wrestlers in a boxing ring.
I'm sorry, Scott. I got overly critical.
Can you imagine if that happened in a
They just
wrestling? Punch them in the mouth.
the guy's coming in for like a wrestling move, and the guy just lays him out with a right cross.
That would be hilarious.
And then, what's your favorite line, Taylor?
Which one?
I didn't see that
Oh,
coming.
bet you didn't see that. I was gonna say you're messing with the Texas rattlesnake.
The Texas rattlesnake. Snap it to a Slim Jim.
You know, he kind of looks. Are we sure he's a bear? Because he kind of looks like a cougar here. His ears are pointy.
They're kind of like floppy side bear ears, I guess. Well, I thought it was a badger at first, but
They do punches in the corner regularly, but the ref gets onto them, says the chat.
yeah, but I think
Like that.
I think Archie Bear here is supposed to be the hero. And also, by the way, it looks like Archie Bear is got some kind of advantage over this guy because he looks way bigger.
There's no weight class. Either.
Yeah, it's like one, he's cheating with a punch, and two, I think he's way bigger than this other guy. Just for usually like rules, unless I'm reading this wrong, Scott, make your villains way more powerful than your heroes.
That guy doesn't look like a threat.
Yeah, because then it's just going to seem like the hero's picking on some weak guy.
The hero shouldn't be oversized, says Annie.
Yeah, they should kind of be closer to, unless you make the villain like extra huge.
I kind of like that actually when the villains are like big guys, like
Yeah.
Bane fighting Batman.
Yeah, exactly. But even like if you did Bane fighting like a bigger character, as long as Bane is still bigger, then it will always work. All right, your hatching works here really well. There's just one exception. This is going in the wrong direction, and watch, as soon as I do this, watch the rhythm of the night. Boom, baby. Look at that. Now it all makes sense. So, once again, line weight, like we talked before. This is a good setup shot.
This kind of reminds me of manga now.
Yeah, the black and white. Some of your hatching gets a little dirty here. I'd either simplify it with no hatching or try to clean it up a little bit. I know you're trying to do a fade, but...
Zach says, just backed black and white. Can't wait for it to show up.
Oh, thank you, Zach. You're awesome. Yeah, we just added a original art tier.
Get in on that. It's gonna go fast.
Yeah, so if you know anybody who likes to collect original art, or actually it's an art commission, so I'm gonna doodle for you guys. I'll put my money where my mouth is. So, I don't know, Scott. Your anatomy looked really good on the first page, but some of this is starting to fall apart a little bit. So maybe you were looking at a photograph in the first, but this guy doesn't, like the arms and the hands and stuff look a little strange. Also, I talk about this a lot, and it's not just a rookie mistake. I still see it all the time. A certain person that Taylor and I were just inking, um, tangented, tangented?
Tangented?
Tangent. He had tangents a lot. So this is what a tangent is.
Ooh, that's a bad one. No,
Yeah.
no offense, Scott.
Ooh. Ooh, you said it kind of like it was a good thing at first. Like,
Ooh, look at that horrible
Ooh, look at that.
tangent.
Ooh. So these are really, really simple fixes. And these happen all the time when you draw. They happen all the time. And the more you draw, the more you will start seeing them automatically. But I need to point it out to you so that maybe you can start training your eye. So when you pencil this, you might actually have a tangent. So you go, oh, I didn't see that. Because there's a lot of things when you're drawing to pay attention to. But when you ink it, and good inkers will do this automatically, they will bring the line up. So if you look, now the line is slightly above the background line. And especially if you make this line thicker than the background line, which it already is, but you could even make it a little thicker, then there's no tangent. And the tangent was that this was just straight across.
Why do you think that happens so often? Like you said, it happens with like professionals and rookies. Like, are people just drawn to them?
Maybe, but I think when I draw, there's so many things to be aware of when you're drawing that those are like the least things to look at. You know what I mean? Those are like, you're so worried about getting the arm in the right position, getting the composition of the overall drawing right, and all those things that sometimes you don't see those because you're so busy just trying to put the bigger pieces together. So it could be that. So he's talking trash right here.
Is that a logo or a hole on his chest?
Maybe he's called like the Halo or something. I don't know. There's like a fire and then like it looks like kind of a halo. Maybe he's like the Fire King or something. Maybe it's like a crown. I don't know. Yeah, I would. Some of your anatomy, Scott, sorry to say, but it starts falling apart in here. I like the guy's unibrow though. It's kind of cool. You don't see that a lot. This is a good forearm, good shape. This is good. I think the shoulder needs to be built up a little bit, and I would make this hand smaller, like it's going. Oops. Give me a red. Like it's going away in that direction. Yeah, because this hand almost looks, this hand right here almost looks smaller to me than this one back here.
Yeah, definitely.
And this is a little thing, but it looks like his weight belt or whatever. I forget what they call these.
Championship belts.
Championship belt.
I forget what they're actually called.
But it goes up a little too high because either they're just not the same. So I'm not sure if you meant this one to ride up high, which it looks kind of wrong, or just to go around his waist there.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Given the smackdown.
It's kind of cool. There's so much crossover between wrestling and superhero stuff. Like when I first saw him, I didn't realize he was a wrestler until this scene played out. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. now I'll get into some of the storytelling aspects. I think you need a good showdown pose. This first panel really isn't it. So maybe, oh, okay. So
That's
he's coming down the runway
okay.
to the ring. So I think that's what this shot was.
So maybe the dialogue is like announcing him or something.
Yeah, and there are probably some cheers, maybe. Yeah, yeah. You know what I think I would have done is to set this up, Scott, is put like people,
Ooh, yeah.
like, and then arms coming up and your banners and all your things, like, you know, like they're like, yeah.
Because when you watch those things, there are people that are like, you gotta establish the crowd.
Yeah, so they're yelling, like chanting, like, yes. We love this guy. Yeah, because then there's also a little bit more storytelling set up. Because right now it's a pretty quiet scene. And if they're announcing this guy, you need some chaos. You know, because usually those wrestling matches is like the crowd's in a frenzy. So if you could set this up where there's a little bit more of a frenzy going on, maybe storytelling wise it'd be a more effective. Because then you turn it here, but this looks like a really like somber.
Yeah.
And then you go here and you try to build up like, oh, there's fans and there's all this stuff going on.
And you don't see him up close, they're so far.
Right. I think what I would do is maybe do it from like a fan point of view. I was going to draw this, but it would be too complicated. Like a down shot, like if you were looking down, like
From the audience, like seeing
yeah, yeah. Like if you could, let me take that red.
I think that
out
would
of
be a
there.
better establishing shot that they're about
Yeah,
to fight.
like say this is the stage. You know, so you're establishing the ring, and here's the ropes here. And so you have this guy with the halo and the flame, like he's here. Like, come on. And then you have your guy, your hero bear, like right here. And so then that runway that you established, you have it here. And then you have that little side piece here. And then, like, however your design is, like, I'm just designing this for you, but say there's like a walkway around your whole stage. So then this walkway, I hope you guys can see it, but like this is that walkway he was on in the previous page. So he was kind of back here. So now you move him forward. So he's walking down the runway and that little arch thing is back here. So he's walking and then maybe there's like a little catwalk all the way around the stage. And so then those fans that you drew in right there,
Then you
like
see how many
these
there
like
are.
little heads, yeah, they're all like here. And then you don't have to draw a bunch of fans, right? So you just draw like a bunch of heads.
It would really help to establish the setting, I think, because I think the fact that it jumps from a close-up to like another kind of close-up,
Yeah.
I don't really know the scale.
Yeah, so this actually would give you a good establishing shot of what's going on. And then you also, like how you have your fans and stuff, you still can establish them. And then you put them right here too, over on this side. So they're basically wrapping the whole thing. And so, and then if there's a judge or whatever, I don't know. Do they have guys in the ring,
I
like
think
judges?
they do. I think they have like a little panel or something, right?
You have your judge here or something like that. And so then, you know, you have them, you know, and then they're cheering like whatever, you know, T-Bear and whatever, you know, Fire Crown or whatever that guy's name is. They're cheering here. And so then right here you have this guy like, yeah, well, come on, man, come on. You know, like he's talking his trash. And so then, you know, he's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And so maybe the crowd's on his side. And so then you cut over to this panel here. And
climbing in the ring.
yeah, so then he's climbing in the ring. But also what I would do, I don't know. I think you need to see those two together.
Yeah, there isn't a shot of them.
Yeah, there is here.
But there's, yeah, and I guess you see his back, but I see what you mean.
Yeah, but this guy's still talking trash while
So
he's
I didn't
coming
realize
in.
how much bigger than him he was to that last panel.
Yeah, so this guy's like, oh, you getting in the ring, huh? You gonna come, whatever? And he's like, yeah, that's right. I'm gonna lay you out. And so then, this becomes slightly repetitive to this panel though, but I don't know. I think what I would like to see personally, listen to me, I'm just taking control of this guy's storytelling, is
Well, he asked.
this shot here, this cool shot that you have here, Scott, I would put here. Like, oh yeah, whatever. And then what I would do is I'd have a close up of your bear guy. And maybe he's just silent. Maybe he's just not saying anything. He's just like, yeah, whatever. And then go to this panel here. Because these things always work like when you're pitting two guys against each other. If there's a close up, it's kind of the a mano a mano, kind of idea. And so then this guy's, you can tell he's pulling down the thing. He's going to get in the ring. And then now he's in the ring. So now maybe he doesn't say anything. Now I'm creating the character. Look, I'm getting excited
I like
here.
where this is going.
I'm getting excited.
Boredom says it might be more exciting, and I kind of agree if there was a shot of the bear actually jumping over the ropes.
I didn't want to get too much. I'm trying not to be too critical. I'm actually just hijacking this guy's poor Scott's poor Scott stuff. So
storytelling's an important element.
It is an important element. Yeah. Oh, I don't want that. I want this. Okay, so to keep with my this guy's just still talking crap. So it makes Hero Bear look like he's kind of like oh yeah, the odds are against me. And this guy keeps talking crap. So if this hero guy is going to be the hero of the piece, so then this guy keeps talking crap, right? So then Hero just silently walks over and just whack, just knocks this guy for a loop. So
give him the bear claw.
Give him the bear claw. They're all cheering, bear claw. And so, why do I keep doing that? I told you, I'm just like, I become a creature of muscle memory. I don't think that serves anything. And to be honest, like this is your payoff shot. Like I said, I would make this guy, I'd make him bigger. Also, he's kind of coming forward. The Halo guy, I would make him a lot bigger. And one of the things too that you never want to do is you never want to crop like arms and stuff out like that, and the leg. It just doesn't. I think it looks really strange. So I don't know, to keep up. Maybe I'll go back to the red since it's what I'm using here. I don't know if you can salvage this guy. Maybe if his arm was coming back and maybe this one is coming forward, like that's his shoulder. Maybe like he's spinning him around or something, and maybe have his head like slightly crop that panel, because right now the panel is cutting right into his chin.
Yeah,
it looks kind of strange. And then, like I said, I would make him bigger, but maybe like and then this leg's a little too straight for being laid out. And if you bend the leg, I still wouldn't crop it where you have, but at least if it's bent like this, it looks like he was coming at him, and possibly maybe even he was starting to throw an overhand right in this direction. You know what I mean? Like he's going like that.
He was coming at him and got
right
up his feet.
And so by punching him, he's spinning around like he's punching him in his body, his torso spinning around. He's really whacking him. And also you have to do something because what are we gonna call this guy, Taylor? Fire Lord?
The Fire Lord.
Because he's got the fire and he's got the crown. Okay, he's Fire Lord, and is he called just Hero Bear? T-Bear, okay. Oh, sorry guys.
The T-Bear.
Yeah, I got a little bit of a cold too. So, so he's punching him, but this guy looks like he's in the air because he's really high up in the composition.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, also since this is supposed to be, this is kind of your payoff, I would spend some time, and I would try to hint at them
The audience?
Yeah, I would put some crowd back in here.
I mean, if you're gonna do a wrestling story, you kind of have to.
Yeah, just to reestablish. But also you can tell some story. Like if you have these guys, like let's just say Hero Bear was the bad guy. Then these guys are all like,
Oh
whoa,
no!
our hero was supposed to win. So either they could be like really, really cheering on the T-Bear, or they could be booing him.
They're shocked.
Yeah, they're shocked that they took out what were we calling him?
The Fire Lord.
The Fire Lord down so easily. But yep, that's what I would do. That's what I would do. So please, Scott, don't hate me. This is all in love and to try to get us to become better storytellers and better artists. And thank you so much. You're a brave soul, for sending your stuff in. And I would just work on anatomy a little bit more, and composition and storytelling. And those are all tough things, but they're also fun. Like I had a lot of fun just kind of doing some of this stuff here for you. And so don't be afraid to come up with a couple drafts for your storytelling. Do a couple thumbnails. Don't fall in love with your first idea, because there's always a better way to storytell, and there's always a better way to set up a scene and pay it off. So I hope that helps, Scott. And once again, it was all done with love, man. That first page is killer. Your anatomy and everything was pretty amazing on it. So I don't want that. And let's go to. So once again, man, Jean Sinclair, or Jean, or Jean.
I think it's Jean.
Jean.
Jean Sinclair.
Jean. That's the female way of saying it, right?
Oh yeah, maybe it's a girl.
Jean. So.
Actually, I don't know, because isn't the guy Gene usually G-E-N-E?
It's a G-E-N-E, yeah.
Is that Damien all growed up? Or is that... Wait, who is that?
Looks like a Legion of Superheroes character.
Yeah, it does.
What is that guy's? Is that that's not Mon-El. I can't remember what that guy's name is.
Interesting.
But it looks like these are Legion characters. So maybe it's like some kind of crossover between, let's see what the title was. Hands of Kung Fu. Oh, is this maybe this is a Karate Kid. From, it does look like a Legion of Superheroes character.
Oh, Comic Book Bob says, Art, any chance on getting a tutorial on rendering textures, especially hair?
Sure. I think if you listen long enough, we'll probably we'll be challenged with something like that. So just keep tuning in, and I'll keep it in the back of my brain. So if something comes up, like an example, I'll make a note of that, and I'll try to give you a little tutorial. It's kind of hard with this mouse and Photoshop to do anything like that, because most of the texture stuff I do is all with brush and pen.
It's a little difficult to go live with that stuff too, because the resolution on live isn't that great.
Yeah. So very, very nice. There's a lot of good drawing here.
They destroyed the city.
With their karate chop. Karate chop, chop. Chop, chop, chop. I don't know. Where does everybody chime in on the long beak Batman? Are we good with the long beak, or?
Do you think the long beak of Batman goes with the long ears, or does it have to be one or the other?
I don't know. Sometimes I like it, and sometimes not so.
I tend to like the Batman with the short ears and the short nose.
Yeah. I personally, I'm the same, but depending on the artist, sometimes I like the longer nose. I like Gene's take on him, because I always think the best view to me for Batman is the profile.
Yeah.
I love the Batman profile. It's so cool. However,
the chat is not into the beak, apparently.
no beak. Maybe I framed it up wrong though. So maybe if it's a little long, but not quite as long.
Some in between.
Yeah. And I like the rendering. I wish this was higher res though, Gene.
Do you think this is traditional?
It looks traditional, and then scanned and colored in.
Yeah, sure.
I think this is Photoshop coloring, because some of the way the hair's rendered. Let me find this. This is going to be a little hard. I don't think this is going to work right. But maybe I should do it with black. Like the ear doesn't set behind, like the ears aren't behind his head. They're on the side of his head.
That looks like it's like on the back of his head.
Yeah, because there's a better way to do this to try to get the point to you guys. Is I think what happens here is this line crosses over too much, which implies that ear is behind
Yeah.
versus on the side. So I think if Gene would have done it more like this, where it possibly crosses a little bit, and what they do with that little front piece is they usually do it like that.
A little bit of dimension.
Yeah, and then it feels like it needs, I think maybe I moved it in too far.
Yeah, there you go.
So like that, and let me see. Usually, that's not gonna work. Let me do it this way. The eye will line up with the ear, or the ear will line up with the eye.
This is kind of a small file, you guys. And just for future, when you send stuff in for art to go over, it does help for it to be really high res and bigger.
Yeah, because when I blow it up like this for you guys to see or for me to draw, it makes it harder to see, I think. This Ra's al Ghul face is amazing. Both these faces in the background are awesome. I love that. And I love the cross hatching that you did on them. Like in here, and in here, and in here. It's really nice. Really nice. I'd like to see some of your hatching tighten up a bit. But it serves the background faces. Some of this Batman stuff gets a little messy, but I like the idea of hatching it.
Nick says you can almost feel the embroidery. I think about the background guys.
Oh yeah, and this is hard to do. The patterns and stuff.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm fluctuating whether Batman should be a solid black back here, or keep it hatched. Because there's a nice kinetic, like when you hatch a lot, there's a kinetic energy, and the colors are bringing it together enough that it doesn't look like it's falling apart. Because sometimes if things are too hatchy, the solidity of it will fall apart. Maybe just tighten it up a bit. Tighten it up, and I'm gonna try to do this.
Oh, big goggles.
She's got some big goggles. But always draw through everything. And then I think the neck would start back here, and her shoulder would probably be more in here. So I think that's up a little too high. And then the same rule, okay, we have the eyes that are level, and then the ear that's supposed to be level with the eyes, but it's on a different plane. So if you think about your planes like this, so this is your front plane, and then this is your side plane here, that the ear should probably come down more. And if you came down with the ear, her jaw would look less mannish.
It's a little strong.
It's a little strong, yeah. So the ear placement has a lot to do with the jaw placement, or if the jaw looks too long or out of place. So it's a nice face. I think your lip starts a little too soon. So
I didn't even notice that until you pointed it out.
yeah, I think it should. It does diminish like you have, but I think it needs to go a little bit further over in this direction.
By the way, you guys, Art really knows his like female faces. If you look at them, they're always really, really on when it comes to that curvature of the lip and stuff.
Well, thank you.
Buy that Starfire. It's on the website now.
Buy it now. This guy, this musculature. Ooh, I said it right. This guy is awesome. This figure is really, really good, Gene.
That's the standout for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the facial structures on Catwoman and Batman are a little weak, but this anatomy on this guy more than makes up for it. This forearm, the way it goes into this, the bicep tricep area, is really, really nice. Really good. I think if you were going to go, like if this is Karate Kid, I think I don't know, doesn't he do the more karate chop?
I think so. People in the chat are trying to rally for the Starfire print, by the way.
Oh, thanks guys. Yeah.
If you guys are interested, contact Art through there, and if there's enough of you guys, maybe he'll be lucky enough to do a small run.
Oh, for the print? Yeah. What did we say if there was 10 of them? Yeah. So her leg looks a little short to me, and it looks like her waist doesn't exist. So I don't know if you drew through, I don't know if you can see that. I'm just sketching this in real quick. That possibly the leg down a little bit and a little longer.
I totally thought that was Gwenpool when I first saw it. I was like, this is a weird crossover.
Oh, because of the pink color?
Yeah, the pink on white.
These are great faces. This is really good. This is really, really good. I would tighten up some of your hatching. His figure is really well drawn. The faces are good. Just be careful with the ear location and some of the structure of the head. Her leg was just a bit long. But this is really, really good. Really good. You have a future. And if you colored this yourself, which I didn't see another name in the credits,
Yeah.
then you're also pretty darn good there as well. The knocking out of the line art for the two heads in the background, pretty cool.
If you were gonna pick like a career, like if this person asked you what direction to go as far as comic book careers, and let's just say they did color this, do you think they'd make a better inker, colorist, or penciler as far as mainstream work?
Yeah, I would say penciler. The inks suit the style, but the reason I think all pencilers, if they're going to do comic books, should ink their own work at least initially, is so they can see how things work, how they interpret. Because some people pencil things that are just impossible to ink. So I think it's a worthy pursuit, and you should try to do that. And I think Gene could make it there. Gene Sinclair. There's only one credit there. I don't know if she just did this for fun.
She put her name in the file name, so
Yeah,
I saw that. I'm assuming this is a mock-up of something.
So is this Ed Brisson or Bryson? Is he a writer as well?
I don't know.
'Cause I know Tom King
Danny
is.
Mickey is. See, that's how I wonder if this is like a series that exists, and maybe she just did like a cover for fun.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think if these are the two writers, then she's the penciler, and then she's still giving Danny like ink credit, and then Laura Martin coloring credit.
How do we know that Danny didn't ink this?
I know Danny didn't ink this. But yeah, this is really good. So I'd say still try to ink yourself. Try to tighten it up, and if nothing less, the more you ink your work, the more then you can help a penciler or inker cue into what you're trying to do. So it's a worthy pursuit. So very good. And we have another one.
Also by Gene.
By Gene. Gene, the dancing machine.
The Spy Without Fear.
Wait a minute.
Murdoch.
Agent of Spiral?
I'm not familiar with that one.
Spiral. Oh, the algam, the
Amalgam.
amalgam.
I can't even say
Jeez.
it either.
The amalgam comics. I think I worked on some of those in the day. There was like Marvel and DC, and they crossed over. I think I did the Metal Men. It was like Magneto and the Metal Men
Ooh,
or something like that.
that's a cool one.
Yeah.
Who is this guy an amalgam of? Murdoch.
Well, that'd be Matt Murdock, but I don't know what Spiral is.
Hmm.
The
He
Spiral.
almost looks like he's dressed like Deadpool. Almost.
Almost.
All
Yeah,
those
but it.
Marvel guy characters have that. I noticed they all have that weird strip of color now in the middle of their
Yeah.
body.
I think the amalgam were supposed to be DC Marvel though, so he would
Oh, yeah,
have
it's
to
a
be.
DC character.
Yeah, so it's like Matt Murdock or Daredevil mixed with some other character.
Hmm.
Once again, anatomy's pretty good. Those arms are really well done. Um, One thing just about your paste up, this is weird on his leg like this
Oh,
because it almost takes up the entire leg. So there's like tangents
it
and
lines up with it.
yeah, it lines up too much. The hands are good.
Just
Just
a crazy plane flying overhead, by the way, if you guys hear that.
yeah, just a few things, and these are just little nitpick. This arm right here, all this stuff is really, really, really good. Is this
The chat is liking the shoes.
the shoes? Okay, this right here,
No.
it's a little too exaggerated. I know I went even further, but I did it to exaggerate the exaggeration. So one thing, unless it's a really baggy shirt, which I don't think it's supposed to be, tighten that up a little bit. It just looks, it might be more realistic, but it just looks better.
It's like his belly.
Yeah, and then just kind of straighten the sides up a little bit. It's just an aesthetic thing. And possibly bring his crotch up. He's a little long in the crotch. He's a bit long in the crotch. And let me see. Yeah, tighten up the hatching again. And these earlobes are a little too, just like the waist, they're a little too, there's a little too much movement. So I just kind of, just bring him down straight. Yeah.
Literally getting his ears lowered.
He's getting his ears lowered.
Oh, Sinclair has a different signature in this piece than the other one.
Yeah, stepping it up. Very nice, and your digital skills are pretty good because I believe you're doing all this paste up and these backgrounds and color work yourself. So you're going to be a triple threat there, Gene. You're going to be pencils, inks, and colors, and then even, oh, excuse me, even paste up work. So very, very good. Let's go with getting rid of some of these. And so then we have, is this why you called it Shut Up?
Yeah, because it's like, shut up, it's Art Walk.
It's Art Crawl.
Art Crawl, that's the name of the file.
Yeah. So it's like, go, I guess, lick doorknobs. So,
She's got a Coochie Kopi shirt.
she got the Coochie Kopi. I bought my daughter a Coochie Kopi nightlight from San Diego Comic-Con. It's really cool. It lights up. It's awesome. So these are Bob's Burgers characters. Quality beef. Fresh. Fun. I'm not sure what these arrows are for.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
But this is fun. Just thought we'd show off. Ooh, there's whipped cream. I'm getting hungry. This is not good. Yeah, this is fun. So just give you a little heads up. Who is this? This is just Shut Up Art Crawl. I don't know who this is. So you guys just, I guess, hush your mouth. Hush your mouth. Okay, so that was a fun way to end this, and we got a little preview here, some extra fun.
Check it out.
This is a little bit of my artwork here.
Man, that guy's good.
This guy's good. Look at that. So this is with Taylor's paste up work. So she put in all the extra graphics,
In a world where law and order are often blurred to gray, justice can only be black and white.
So this is Taylor too.
I tried
Oh,
to
you
get
know what?
Edwin's cadence.
That was a good Edwin impression. This is I didn't notice that before, the black outline around the logo type. That's really cool.
Thank you.
So we are going to be offering this as the mini print stretch goal. So we thought we'd preview it here, since you guys are so cool and so supportive with the black and white Indiegogo. Here's a little exclusive peek at what we will unlock next once we get past the stretch goal that we're currently at. So I think we only have a couple grand to get to.
We're pretty close. This could be yours.
This could be yours, and these are like nice little freebies. So everybody that buys a book, like if you bought a book right now, you know, once we unlock the mini print, what would they get, Taylor? They would get the mini print.
Mini print sticker and the bookmark, which is double-sided, by the way. That's a pretty cool bookmark. And I guess by that point, would they get the patch? I'm trying to think of what.
No, they get two others. Oh my gosh. You get the square bound book.
That's right, the square bound book.
And you get Pamela's signature.
Yes.
Wow. So if you come in right now,
you're getting a lot of bonus items with your order.
Yeah, you're getting a ton of bonus items, and those don't cost you any more. So if you just purchase the book, everybody in the physical tiers will get all of the stretch goal items. So go to the site, check out the stretch goal items, pledge, pick up a book. Is there anything else you'd like to leave?
Make sure to encourage your buddies to pledge, because like Art said, the more people that pick up the book, the more everybody benefits, because you guys all get more stuff. And we did just add a new tier, and I don't know if you haven't subscribed to the newsletter yet, you really should, because that's where we announce everything first. That should be the fourth link in the description. And the newsletter, we just announced that, I know a lot of people have been asking about commissions and stuff, and Art has opened up for one commission, but it is through the Indiegogo campaign. So there's a tier where you can get the ultimate tier, which is all the physical items, and you can get an 11x17 commission. But there's only one of those. So if you want to get it, you should probably get it soon, because that thing is going to go fast, I think.
Yeah, I'm not offering any commissions for the rest of this year. So the only commissions are going to go through the Indiegogo site. So I'm going to keep it all centered on that. So like Taylor said, if you sign up for the newsletter, that's usually where we announce these things first. But we are starting to share a little bit with exclusives on the YouTube as well. But this time out, we did the newsletter first. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Portfolio Reviews. Like I said, this is me paying it forward, you guys. I'm doing this with love. There are so many people in my past that have done this for me, and sometimes it hurts a little bit, but growth, you know, it doesn't always come easy. Sometimes truth hurts. So it's never my intention to hurt you or to make fun of you or light of you. It's always just designed to kind of, you know, make us better artists and build this community. Comic book art should be fun, and we should all kind of, you know, I don't know, give to each other and support each other. So anyway, that's that. Okay.
One last thing. So you may notice there's a new link in the link section, and we have a donation button now. So Art's putting a lot of time into these reviews and stuff, and no pressure, but this channel is not monetized, so if you want to drop him a tip, you can do so there. And there's also the link for if you want to submit your own art for review. So thank you guys. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications.
And somebody keeps saying the video game November. I just read that real quick. The thing is, we can't extend it. So this is pretty much going to be it. So if you guys, you know, are video game people, I don't know if you have, I mean, they can probably buy that at any time, right?
Yeah, I know that the only Besides, you guys, the only good game that's coming out is Red Dead Redemption 2. You can get a book in Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, so the thing is, this really is limited. So,
Yeah, this book, by the way, is something to keep in mind. Like Art said, this book, like this campaign as it's running, is the only place you're gonna be able to buy this. So I'm not saying to prioritize it, but you might want to if you really want to support this book. And we do need the support in the moment, most of all.
yeah, because the thing is, this is a finite time. This isn't. This is just for a moment in time. So the immediate support is better. So I know there's video games and you guys want, but yeah, this is just for a moment in time. So I'm kind of babbling here and I don't mean to. I should let everybody go. So yeah, we're going to do more of these. I hope you got a lot out of the portfolio review. And if you haven't checked out the Indiegogo, do so. And is there anything else, Taylor?
Please subscribe to the newsletter, and it does help the channel if you like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. And please like this video to help us boost our views.
Yes, thanks, guys. Have a good one.